And good afternoon, everybody. So as of today, July 10th, there are 56 active wildfires in the province. Out of those active fires, we have 6 that are categorized as contained, 12 that are not contained, 21 ongoing assessment, and 17 are protecting values. This year, Saskatchewan has had 362 wildfires, which is well above the 5-year average of 222 to this date. I'd like to add that we've also issued a fire ban within the province. It's effective 8 a.m. this morning due to the high fire activity and extreme fire risk. The fire ban encompasses the area north of the provincial forest boundary up to the Churchill River. The fire ban prohibits any open fires, controlled burns, or fireworks in the designated boundary. We encourage residents to remain diligent and preventing human-caused fires in all areas of the province. Yesterday, English River First Nation declared a local state of emergency for the community of Pachinak as the muskeg fire continues to affect road access to Highway 918. With support from the Meadow Lake Tribal Council, priority individuals are being airlifted to Buffalo Narrows and bused to Lloydminster. At this time, 5 communities are under an evacuation order due to the muskeg fire, the resort subdivision of Lac La Plonge, northern village of Beauvel, Lac La Plonge Reserve, Pachinak English River First Nation. Also, due to the auto fire, Kiniseo has been evacuated. There are approximately 930 individuals evacuated in the province at this time. Evacuees should register through the Sask Evac web app and then call the 1-855-559-5502 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for assistance in registering if needed. We remind the public to please contact their community leaders for next steps in case of an evacuation and to download the Sask Alert app as well. And I will provide an update on our fires of note, and I will go through our map. Just give me 1 second. Stephanie, has the map showed up?
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect, thank you. So first we'll take a look at the Shoe Fire. It's been fairly inactive for the most part around the perimeter. We can see on the west side here, this is the most activity that we have on the Shoe Fire. A couple of small spots along the perimeter on the east, which we have staff engaged on those to contain it from escaping containment with these westerly winds we are going to be experiencing for the next several days until at least Monday. It's forecasted. So just zoom in a little bit here. So we are engaging this fire within this this hot zone. Again, we don't have too much concern because the wind will be blowing it into itself. So there's no real fuel or direction that this fire can go. So it's not going to grow very rapidly. So we are hoping to contain it where it's currently at here over the next couple of days. This fire is still at 533,614 hectares. Next we have, we'll just stay next to it here, the ditch fire. Ditch fire is still at 186,470 hectares. There's a little bit of heat in between the Shoe and the ditch fire here in this green island. Again, no concerns because it's burnt all the way around. No fuel for it to go anywhere. We will still monitor it, but again, no concern. But we can see on the west side, we did have it heat up over the last few days. So this is where we are concentrating our staff here, which is just north of Ramsey Bay. And again, good winds coming from the west, no concerns. We're hoping to wrap this up. We do have a new fire just north. It's called the Hawk Fire. And this has been burning quite aggressively over the last couple of days, so we've done what we can, but due to fire intensity, we've had to pull staff out. But we're putting them in strategic locations where we can, where it's safe for our staff. But with these higher winds and dry conditions, this fire is burning quite aggressively, so we need to keep our staff safe as well. Again, no major runs anywhere. West winds, it'll kind of push it to into the ditch, maybe just north of it a bit. Let's get a current size quickly here. The size is 35,000 hectares today. We'll continue moving northward to the Pisu fire. This is 188,622 hectares in size. For the most part, there's been very little activity other than the north section, and that's where we are concentrating our efforts. Again, with the west wind, we do project that it will be moving eastward over the next few days, which will be blowing, smoke for those communities on the east side, which would be Missinippi and Grandmother's Bay, possibly in Stanley Mission area. Again, we don't see any concern with it affecting the highway, the road heading north, but it will be traveling eastward over the next few days. We are engaging this eastern perimeter, but again, it's just see the distance. So it's 7 kilometers, if not a little bit longer, when you start going in all the fingers and bays. We're looking at 10 kilometers of fire line, so that's quite a bit of active fire line. But currently, it's quite a ways away. It's 34.6 kilometers from Missinippi, and to the road, still 27.4 kilometers away. So no huge concern about that at the moment. Next, we'll head over to the Wolf Fire. This is the one out by Donair Beach, Creighton, Flin Flon. Again, minimal activity on this fire as well. It still remains not contained at 159,903 hectares in size. We've had some activity, and our staff have been engaged on the south side of this fire here near the Manitoba border, as well as just north of the 106 as well here as well. So those are the only two hotspots that we have. Again, no concern for this north, as it would be burning into the club fire. There's nothing left, so it's kind of stuck. So that shouldn't be much of an issue for us. And progress is going good in the south here. We shouldn't have any issues containing that as well. If it were to breach lines, again, it's going to run into Lake Athapap, which would stop it, slow it down, and hopefully we can continue to successfully contain that breach as well. So no real concerns there, but we do have a cluster of fires near Beauval. You see, these are very active fires. So the main one just north of Beauval, which is impacted the 918 road into Pachinak, is currently sitting at 33,962 hectares, but I imagine that has grown and will continue to grow for the next few days. Again, you can see that it took a run up in this northeast quadrant east due to the winds, and it'll continue to travel in that direction until at least Monday, when the winds will change. It has merged with several other smaller fires over the last 48 hours, as well as the Dory fire. It has merged with the Char fire. It's still labeled here. That will be changed soon. But so these are two fires that merged together. The Dory fire, which is just southeast of Beauval. And then just to the west, near Canoe Lake, Jans Bay, we have the Trail fire. So all three of these fires are high priority that we are currently engaged with. Again, due to the intensity of these fires, there's limited tactics we can do at the head of it. But again, we can work our way on the flanks, making sure that they don't widen and spread on the sides, and hopefully slowly pinch it off and use the natural fuel breaks such as rivers and roads and lakes to stop these things. But this is where we'll be concentrating on. Trail fire is currently at 2,800 hectares. So with that, I will show you some distances. So the closest point of the muskeg fire to Beauval, and looks like it's 5.9 kilometers away to the north. Again, this shouldn't be taking any major runs towards the community with the west winds. It will slowly encroach southward as it flanks, but it should continue to head eastward. The Dory fire, the most northern point to Beauval, 13.5 kilometers. And the trail fire is 19.7 kilometers. And I guess to add to that, since we've had a recent evacuation of Pachinak and English River, I will show the distance that these fires are from those communities. So the northern point of the muskeg fire is still showing 39.5 kilometers away. And the next closest fire would be the Smith fire, which has not impacted the 918, but it would be the closest wildfire to the community, is 28.5 kilometers away from Pachinak. And again, for the next 4 days, we have west winds. These fires will not be getting any closer to that community. And on Monday, we actually have north winds, which would be pushing it away from that community as well. But what's good for one community isn't good for some others. So by Monday, hopefully we have better containment by then. Otherwise, again, that's going to be a threat to Beauval. Otherwise, that's I think that's the end of fires of note. And I'll stop there for questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Bryan. So now we'll open up to questions. Just a reminder, one question, go to follow-ups later, and please identify your media outlet. So first up, we have Laura. Laura, you might be on mute. You can also type your question in the chat. We'll go to Nicole then.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Nicole Healy here with Global News Saskatoon. I'm curious to know about how the firefighting efforts are going for the muskeg fire and Dory fire, with it being so close to certain communities. I spoke to Big River, not Big River, English River emergency management, and they told me that it seems like there's not a lot of resources there because of how many fires there are, and they're just kind of praying for some help there in the little fire that they're dealing with.
Thank you. Good question. So yeah, there's a lot of fire on the landscape, and it's spread throughout the province. So when we do get a cluster of fires, ones that are burning in such rapid pace and intensity, it does take a little bit of time for us to logistically get resources to where they're needed and come up with plans. Also, sharing that communication information with stakeholders and communities and industry that are involved takes a little bit of time, but we do have a Type 2 team established there. They're identifying equipment and resources required to contain these fires and to protect the communities surrounding these wildfires. So we have the resources, and we're getting more as required. But unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time to gather that information, and then also assess these fires and see what they're going, where they're going, how fast they're going, and looking at the fuel loads, fuel types, wind direction. So there's quite a bit of factors involved. But again, this is all being coordinated by the team, and there's no concerns at this time, and we'll see what the next few days bring.
Thanks, Bryan. So I see Laura has her question in the chat. So her question is about evacuations. How has the SPSA and government resources helped those in evacuation areas been helped out of the communities? Are there enough resources or are more needed?
I'll touch on that, and then maybe I'll let Steve finish it off. But so it's up to the communities. I know a lot of the communities in that general area, MLTC, they go through contractors, a third party. A lot of times it's potentially the Canadian Red Cross, but we are there to assist or to be there as an option as well. But as of yet, we haven't been requested for assistance by any of the community leaders. They're taking that responsibility on by themselves, going through a third party. But again, we're always here to help when and if needed. Steve, is there anything you'd like to add?
Sure. Just as a summary, we are still looking after and supporting those folks that have come from the village of Beauval. Those evacuated from Kiniseo and Lac La Planche Reserve are being supported by their tribal councils directly, and as well as those that came out of Patchinac recently. So again, there's a number of different supports that are available depending on community's choices. If the public safety agents is requested, we will be there to support them directly or also to assist the primary providers. So for instance, if Meadow Lake needs some assistance through their evacuation process, they would approach the public safety agency and ask for us to assist them while they carry out the evacuation. So typical supports is getting them moved out of the community, either by air, by ground, getting into a stable location. Typically that's hotel rooms with meals, support, security, and then all of the other supports that go with those, such as mental health supports, medical supports, and family supports.
Thanks, Steve. And Bryan, up next we have Susan.
Hi, Susan McNeil, PA now. My question is about the in the spring or earlier this year, you had a few fires that were started by arson. These newer fires by Beauval, are they more causing, like, are they due to lightning, or are you still having issues with human caused fires? And if you can give any update on any criminal charges that you might know of. I know I should probably call the RCMP too.
Good question. We do know that a majority of the clustered new starts near Beauval were through lightning, but there are some that are still yet to be determined. Just the fire activity has been too intense to get investigators out there. When we do have that window of opportunity, we will be investigating some of these new starts, just because they're not easily identifiable to be lightning. So there's certain criteria that we kind of flag for these types of more in-depth investigations, I suppose. So again, a majority of them have been lightning, but there are yet to be determined a couple of fires. As for the charges, I can't speak on that. I believe it was mentioned earlier this season that an individual was charged for arson. I believe that was first lighting fire somewhere near the Choiceland area earlier on. The outcome or progress of that, I wouldn't have that information.
Thank you, Bryan. Up next, Edith.
Hi, it's regarding the support you're giving to the evacuees. Many people has reported that they haven't received any money support to help them with their expense during evacuation. Can you confirm that there are delays, or is there any plans to make the money go to the evacuees faster?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. We have been doing extra exercise. So example is not everyone has received their checks. Some of that is is related to being registered with us and identifying how long they were out of their communities to get, for instance, grocery vouchers. And then, of course, the government made a commitment to deliver checks to people impacted in the communities. Those continue to go out. There are a number of communities that are now finished. They have received all of their checks and supports. Other communities, especially the larger ones, are still getting supports. They're still rolling out. So, for instance, they are providing checks in Creighton for the Nanair Beach and Creighton individuals as we speak. Today and tomorrow, likely they will be making arrangements to distribute more checks to those people. We are also working with Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation to look at some of their communities as well, to get some of the $500 support checks out to those communities now that they've come back. So that's an ongoing process. In the new evacuations, much more robust system. We've learned from earlier this season. We're making sure that we have registrants captured early, so that we do not have delays, and that will ultimately mean that we can identify them earlier, give them their supports earlier than we have been able to do previously.
Thank you, Steve. Up next, Aaliyah.
Hi, this is Aaliyah from CBC. I was wondering if you could elaborate more on the Patchnak evacuation. I know they declared a state of emergency yesterday and they were flying out evacuees as early as 12 hours later. You had mentioned they were going to Lloydminster and Buffalo Narrows, and I was wondering how equipped these areas are to handle these evacuees. And I know you said the fire could start moving directions Monday. So is this, do you think, a temporary evacuation? Are you confident that the fire won't be a threat next week? If you could touch on that, that would be great.
Sure, I can answer that. Again, as Bryan mentioned, communities make the decision. We have been in discussions with the community of English River and Patchnak prior to their decision, and not only on who should evacuate, what the risks are, but they also make decisions on how they want to carry that out. So, you know, we had proposed some options. Moving them by aircraft is a little more complex, a little more complicated, but quicker. A bus that's escorted through the section of road that has some fire adjacent to it was also a proposed option for them. The community chose to fly them to Buffalo Narrows. At Buffalo Narrows, they were transferred to buses and moved to Lloydminster, where there's adequate housing and services to support them. So that's the final destination where they were chosen. So they will not physically be staying in Buffalo Narrows. That was just sort of a relay point. And those are only the high risk, the P1s and P2s. So there's still a number of individuals still in the community. It's not a full evacuation. The community will continue to work with us to evaluate the risk and make a decision at a later time if they need to go. Obviously, we talked about some west winds are not a concern for smoke or for fire moving towards community, and neither are north winds. A risk to Patchnak and English River would actually be south winds pushing it up the highway. And their first impact would of course be smoke, and then depending on proximity, fire, and that would indicate what kind of access they could use if they wanted to do more evacuations.
Thank you, Steve. Shane?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can, yeah.
Perfect. Just a quick question, just in terms of something the NDP said today. They said that the emergency alert system sent out inaccurate updates during the peak of the wildfires season. So I guess back in late May, early June. I'm just wondering, why did this happen? How could it have happened? And what could have been done to help prevent it?
So we have discussed this before. There was during the peak of when LaRange, there was 2 alerts that went out instead of 1. So 1 was a follow-up, but again, it confused some individuals because there was 2 alerts back to back. And in one other instance, when the community of Wyakwin posted their alert, when it was entered, it was actually entered and covered the area that included Prince Albert. So the alert went to Prince Albert, even though the evacuation was not for Prince Albert. The SASC alert system is run, but it's open access. So we train communities and their emergency service providers to enter the data and use the system. So that means that communities themselves, once they make a decision, can go and put the alert in for broadcast. If they are not able, we can do that at the 911 center. So there's a number of points where information can get in, and there's also a number of areas where, you know, we could get an overlap or a miss. So in all the evacuation alerts that have gone out, the majority of them are accurate, timely, giving the right information. But without a doubt, there's been one or two instances where we've had either an overlap, which has been overly cautious, I would say. In other words, they haven't missed people. It's actually been broader than it needed to be for the situation.
Thanks, Steve. So we have some questions in the chat. The first one from Arjan from the Daily Herald. What challenges do crews face making fire breaks in the north? Are there landscapes that make it harder? Bryan or Steve?
Go ahead, Bryan.
Sure. Well, with anything this time of year, challenges for our crews out there is just working in the heat, the bugs, and the rough terrain. Usually they're pretty muddy, swampy. So that makes it challenging in itself, along with carrying a lot of heavy gear and equipment over, you know, long distances. We're talking kilometers. But other than that, challenges for heavy equipment, you know, when you're up in the Northern Shield, there's lots of rock, lots of swamps, lots of ups and downs. So if you're not on rock, which is, you know, challenging to run equipment on, you're down in the sloughs, and some of those swamps can be, you know, what we call our bottomless, and you get those dozers and stuff stuck out there. So those are definitely precautions that are challenging for our field staff out there. I'm sure there's more in-depth things that operators and stuff would identify, but I'm not a heavy equipment operator, so I can't speak on that. But more or less, it's just navigating the terrain and then just dealing with the local weather conditions, which is usually, you know, very hot and smoky, and very uncomfortable. So.
Thanks, Bryan. The next question in the chat is from John from SAS Today. For the new fire mentioned, how did it start and what caused this? And just to confirm, it has it's at 35,000 hectares.
Well, we had a number of new starts, so I'm not too sure which one he's referring to.
Maybe if John, do you have turn your mic on or type in the chat?
Bryan, probably the Hawk. Hawk is 35,000.
Is it 35? Okay, I was still on the west side looking at those fires. Okay, 1 second. Just confirm. Okay, the Hawk fire, yes, you are correct, Steve. Thank you. 35,000 hectares in size, and that is started by lightning.
Great. Thanks, Bryan. And we are almost at time, and I see no further questions, so we will conclude today's media availability. Thanks, everyone, and have a safe rest of your day.